Okay, so we're going to continue on with our goat stew or curry goat dish. I've got the curried goat that was marinating and all those yummy spices overnight. Leaked out a little bit in the original bag, so I put another bag on the outside. Let me grab my tongs and we will get this out of here without too much trouble. I have preheated my skillet with 2 tablespoons of olive oil. You can use regular cooking oil. I just like to use the olive oil. And we're going to sear these pieces of goat. So it's on medium-high heat. And I'm going to sear these for about 2 to 3 minutes. It takes, depending on how thick the pieces are. Some will sear faster. Some will sear slower. Especially that one big fat one right there. A big old bone in that one. Got it in there. That. Get them all out of here. And that. Need more. Now you can do this in a crock pot if you want. But if you do it in the crock pot, you want to make sure that you saute your onions. Oh, you don't have to. You can put them in there just raw. You're going to put a whole onion in this, diced up. I'm going to get that piece of meat out of there. There's some chunks of. I wish you guys could smell this. It smells wonderful. So, I'll put my vent on low. This isn't making any smoke. I'm turning the pieces around. So that I get a nice searing on all sides. Go back to the first pieces I put in. I'm going to need a plate because there's a part where you take this out. And I have this over here, I have my yellow rice cooking. Over, there it is. It's right there. And it's doing its thing. This bowl is what I'm going to use to put the pieces of goat meat in there once it's been seared. All sizes. And what that does is it seals the juices in of the meat. There we go. Now if you've never seared meat before, it's just where you cook it just enough where it starts to get a little crispy golden edging to it. I'll see if I can't find a piece in here to show you once it's ready. We are trying to stay warm in this crazy cold weather that we got. No snow, just cold. Let's see if I can find a piece that's ready to show you. Let's see if you can see this one on this one side. It is seared. It has a nice little golden brown, you know, darker edging, and that's how you're searing it. Just enough to get that look on all the pieces of meat. Some are oddly shaped, so you gotta stick them up on their end. Almost there. This just absolutely smells wonderful. Let's get over this. The aroma of the curry and the spices. The garlic, the cilantro. Now you can add to this, typically it gets cut up potato, put in it, diced up potato, and onion. If you can put in this whatever you want, you can add carrots to it if you want. I've never had curry flavored carrots, but let's see how this one looks. Yeah, that's good in there. Now the reason why I've got this deeper pot is because this has to be covered up with liquid. And that's what's going to make all those spices come together. And bring all the flavor out. Right. So I've got some pieces that are ready. Turn up just a little bit for these fatter ones. So that's about 3 minutes on each side. Just enough to sear the juices in. And that. That one's ready. So some of these are, I had cut in half because the bone was on one end and I was able to actually make them smaller pieces. What about that one? This one's good. Yeah, when they're all different sizes and shapes, sometimes it takes a little while, especially when you're doing 2 pounds. So, 2 pounds of goat meat takes a little while to get it to sear properly. Then we put that out. So when you go to saute the onions, and that's what we're going to do after we pull these pieces of meat out. We're going to saute the onions. And then we're going to put the goat's meat back in. And then we're going to add the cut up potato, which I haven't cut up yet, so I need to do that while it's sauteing the onions. Yeah, they have just enough browning on them to deem them as being seared. Okay. That good one there, and this one here. So I cut up a whole, I'm using a sweet white onion, so I cut up the whole onion just for this dish. And I'm going to put the onion in there so it gets nice and translucent from the juices and olive oil. Now these are serranos. Typically you would put, when you go to add the liquid to this, you would put a Scotch bonnet pepper in there, but you can put in whatever pepper you prefer to give it the certain kind of heat that you want. So, if you want heat, use a habanero or a Scotch bonnet. Otherwise, you can use serranos. You can use a piece of a poblano. Poblano has another kind of heat that goes with it. My husband likes serrano, so we're going to try this curry goat with serranos. I probably should only put one in there. Yeah, It says 1 Scotch bonnet. We'll use 1 Serrano. My husband eats these like they're candy. Now I said I have potatoes I need to cut. Another kind of board. Alright, I need to move oil, and this needs to go. Oh, there. I'll put my meat back here for right now, and cut these little potatoes up. I like using potatoes that you can, if the skins are edible. And these are those little baby Redskins. You can use baby Yukon Golds. There's no right or wrong potato to use other than the smaller ones make it easier, makes it more hearty. And what the potatoes do is it thickens it up. The starch from the potatoes makes it a nice thick stew consistency. Here it is. And it tells you, typically you would take just 1 large potato, peel it, cut it up, or if it's a edible skin, as I call them, well, their skins are all edible and all potatoes, and it doesn't make a difference. So, I'm just going to put in here about a cup of, I'm basically dicing these little tiny potatoes up, cutting them in 4s, and then 8s to have bite-sized pieces, basically. You want to keep an eye on your onions, make sure they get good and translucent. That's where you can see through them. That up there. And these are, it's doing its little thing there. Alright, finish cutting these up. I had a small handful of these left from the last time I made potatoes, so I thought, I'll put them in here. Now the other ingredient that you can add to this is you can put pinto beans in it. Chickpeas is typically what is used. I thought I had chickpeas. I don't, but I do have pinto beans. So we'll get our little fiber in there that way. See how many of these I got cut off. And this is actually going to be just about right. I make cream of potato soup using potatoes that have the skins on them. Gives it a little flavor. Gives you a little bit more fiber, so to speak. There you go, that's about 2 cups of diced up potatoes for this. And onion. Yeah, when they're no longer a solid white color, where they look kind of shiny, that's considered translucent. I'll show you if you can see. That one's not quite, but those are good. That's when you want them translucent. That's what you want to see. You want to see that shiny, clear appearance to them. Now, next step is to add back the goat meat. This. And try to lay them in a way that I'm going to be able to get water over top of all of them. That's going to be the tricky part. And some of these are kind of high in thickness, but I couldn't get around it because of the bone in it. These other ones are perfect. Just be able to hit them all, cover them all up. Now I won't add the beans until the last 30 minutes. So you're going to add that in there. See, that one's sitting up high, so I don't know if the water will cover that or not. I'm going to try. And you put your pepper in there just like that. You don't have to do anything special to it. It's just to infuse the broth that's created. So that gets all of those spices out of that bowl. Like that. And cover this with water. Now this is going to simmer for 2 hours, just so that you know. It's going to simmer for 2 hours. The water has to cover the meat. And basically got it pretty well covered. A lot of this liquid is going to get absorbed because of the potatoes being added. So I'm going to go ahead and add those in. And there's the serrano. It's going to want to float around in there, but that's fine. Now we're going to put this on medium, low, medium. And my lid is somewhere. I have a big lid. What did I do with that thing? There it is. Now this is going to sit like this. Let it simmer for 2 hours, and then this meat will fall off the bone. Like I said, you can do it on the stovetop like this, or you can put it in a crock pot. With a crock pot, you would do this like first thing in the morning, and put it on low for 6 hours, or you can put it on high for 4. And watch the meat. When the meat starts falling off those little bones, you know it's done. So hopefully you will try this out. These are the pinto beans that I'm going to add to it. And what I'm going to do is make my timer for an hour and a half. And okay. So at an hour and a half, 30 minutes before this is going to be done, I'm going to put these pinto beans in there just to heat them through inside and be part of the dish. And then it's served over top of this lovely saffron rice.